Darren adjusted the magnetic grip of his gloves and pulled himself up the scaffolding of his workshop. The whine of plasma cutters and the acrid scent of ionized metal hanging in the air. The orbital scrapyard wasn't much, but it was his. A floating mass of discarded freighters, repurposed mining rigs, and scavenged alien wrecks, tethered to a crumbling maintenance station on the edge of the civilized galaxy. Where the regulations were thin and opportunities thinner, Darren had carved out his own little patch of relevance. Most days were the same. Fix, trade, salvage. But today, something shifted. He spotted a commotion near a junk stall, a huddle of traders jeering, and pointing at a cloaked figure crouched on the floor. A sharp, guttural voice barked in Trellic, demanding payment. The cloaked figure remained silent. The merchant raised a clawed hand, as if to strike. Darren's body moved before his thoughts did. He stepped in, catching the merchant's wrist midair. She shorted a power node, not a warhead. Calm down. The crowd dispersed, uninterested in a human meddling in local disputes. The merchant spat on the ground, but backed off when Darren tossed him a few credits. The cloaked figure stood slowly, revealing large, violet eyes set in a pale, angular face. She was young, alien, and obviously terrified. "Thank you," she said softly, voice carrying an unfamiliar cadence. "You all right?" She nodded, clutching a half-melted regulator close to her chest. "Where you staying?" No answer, just a subtle tightening of her cloak. He sighed. "You hungry?" A nod. He led her to the workshop's upper deck, where a grimy table served as a kitchen. He gave her scent bread and rehydrated stew. She ate quietly but quickly. Her movements were deliberate, efficient. "Name?" "Kale." He introduced himself, keeping things casual. She didn't share much, just that she was trying to repair a navigation module and had no home or ship. He didn't pry. He'd seen plenty of drifters, exiles, and outcasts, but there was something different about her. The way she examined the tools, the way her eyes lingered on the interface logs. She asked if she could work, said she was good with her hands. He let her stay on trial. The next few days surprised him. She learned fast, absorbed schematics in moments, rerouted circuits with surgical precision. Darren found himself watching her when she wasn't looking. The girl wasn't just talented. She was trained. One morning, he found her already at the bench, modifying a salvaged Threxian comms dish. "Trying to decrypt?" he asked. "Optimize. Less noise, better spread." "You speak Threxian?" She hesitated. "I pick things up." "You sure you're not some secret weapon specialist?" She smiled faintly. "Only with junk." That afternoon, a contract came in from a mining crew needing a thermal regulator repaired. Kale diagnosed and rebuilt the core faster than Darren thought possible. The crew paid double. Word started to spread. Kale stayed quiet but observed everything. She watched every client, every haggling merchant, every move Darren made. One night, he caught her staring at the stars. Looking for something? Just remembering. A few days later, a patrol from the Xarn Dominion passed through. Routine, they said. Random scans. But Kale slipped into the shadows and vanished for hours. Darren pretended not to notice. She returned with a cut across her cheek and didn't explain. He didn't ask. A week passed. They were thriving. 3 new contracts. Their workshop humming with activity. Kale never asked for more credits. Only more work. Then came the bounty hunter. A massive Gorak with plated armor and cybernetic limbs, flashing credentials and showing images around. Darren glimpsed a hollow, a blurry figure wrapped in cloaks, violet eyes barely visible. The hunter asked if Darren had seen her. He shrugged, feigning indifference. The hunter left, but Kale was gone again. He found her 2 hours later in the underhang, blood on her hands, a cracked knife at her belt. "He saw me." "Did he follow you?" "No." They didn't speak more of it. That night, she approached him with a request. "Let me rewire the reactor. Increase efficiency. I can do it." He agreed, though it was risky. She delivered, shaving 23% power loss from the main grid. "You weren't born on a colony, were you?" Silence. "You're not poor. You're hiding." Still silence. All right, he said. We all got secrets. The next day, a Xarn ship arrived, larger than usual. No cargo, no trade, just presence. The station tensed. Kale didn't show herself for 2 days. When she reappeared, she handed Darren a datapad. We need to broadcast a false transponder ping. Make them think I jump system. That'll draw attention. So will a corpse. They built it together. Darren watched her bypass security layers with ease, her fingers moving in patterns he didn't recognize. She wasn't just smart. She was elite. The ping went out. Hours later, the Xarn ship chased Ghosts into a neighboring sector. That evening, Darren confronted her. Who are you, really? Kale looked at him with tired eyes. Someone whose name would get you killed. Try me? She hesitated. Kale isn't a name. It's a title. My real name's classified in 12 sectors. Why are you here? To see if humanity's worth saving. He laughed dryly. Well, she didn't answer. Just looked at him, gaze unreadable. They sat in silence for a long while. The next morning, the bounty hunter returned. Not alone. 3 others joined him, all heavily armed. Kale didn't run. She stood her ground. Darren grabbed his old rail cutter. It wasn't meant for combat, but it would do. The fight was brutal. Kale moved like liquid fire, disabling 2 attackers before they drew weapons. Darren took a hit to the side, but managed to collapse part of the walkway, buying time. In the chaos, Kale placed her hand on a node embedded in her arm. A beacon activated. From orbit, something responded. A sleek vessel shimmered into view above the scrapyard, cloaked until now, unlike any tech Darren had seen. Matte black, organic curves, silent thrusters. That's your ship? One of them, she said. He laughed again, but this time with blood in his throat. They were extracted in seconds. The attackers fled. The station fell silent. On board the ship, med drones worked on Darren, while Kale stood by. You should have let me go. You fixed my regulator. Least I could do. She smiled just slightly. Your kindness, it changed everything. Darren drifted into unconsciousness, hearing her whisper something strange. Maybe humans are the only ones who still understand loyalty. He woke to find himself in a medical bay, no pain, no scars. Kale sat beside him, different now, clad in ceremonial armor, her posture regal. I have to go, but you changed the path. You changed mine. He stared at her. Was this all a test? In part, but your kindness was real. That matters more. And then she was gone. Only her datapad remained on the table, with a single encrypted message. You're not alone anymore. The first strike came 6 weeks later. A relay station monitoring a fringe system went dark. No warning. No survivors. The Xarn left nothing but melted wreckage and distorted gravity fields. The message was clear. No hiding places, no mercy. Darren stood before a crowd of mismatched allies, watching the transmission from the destroyed station. The old Marine captain spat on the floor. It started. The loose network they'd built was no longer enough. Pockets of resistance couldn't win this war. They needed a command structure, supply lines, strategy, and more than that, they needed unity. Kale returned with new intelligence. The Xarn weren't just attacking. Something had provoked them. A failed internal coup had pushed a new leader to power, one obsessed with eliminating all unpredictable species. Humans topped that list. Kale identified their next target. Atreus Prime, a human-majority trade colony. Strategically irrelevant but symbolically powerful. If it fell, humanity would withdraw deeper into its own territory, abandoning the outer systems and the network. Darren volunteered to lead the defense. He arrived to find chaos. No coordinated militia, no planetary shields, and a leadership council more concerned with evacuation than resistance. He took control by force of will, backed by Kale's encrypted authorizations and the few operatives who trusted him. In 5 days, they turned a disjointed colony into a war front. Darren conscripted cargo haulers into kinetic strike ships, retrofitted mining lasers for orbital defense, and tapped every dormant AI system in the colony's databanks. Kale brought relics from her people, portable gravity traps, phased defense fields, nanite mist barriers. Old tech, deadly tech. Darren integrated it with Terran grit. The Xarn arrived in full formation. 12 warships, bristling with energy cannons and kinetic pods. Their intention was swift annihilation. The defenders didn't let them land. Darren's strategy was asymmetric. He baited the lead ships with fake thermal signatures, lured them into asteroid clusters laced with grav traps, and detonated antimatter mines stitched from scavenged cores. 3 ships fell before they realized the defenders weren't improvising anymore. The Xarn adjusted, pushing a ground assault. Darren met them with shock troops, engineers, miners, smugglers with jury-rigged exosuits. Kale coordinated orbital interference, blinding enemy comms, and redirecting their own targeting arrays against them. The fighting lasted 18 hours. When it ended, Atreus Prime still stood, and the galaxy noticed. Word of the defense spread through the outer systems. The myth of human unpredictability became a doctrine. Xarn communications leaked. Internal dissent was growing. Their leadership underestimated what Kale called the Deathworld factor. Desperation fueled brilliance. Other species began reaching out, not with full alliances, but quiet offers, supplies, logistics, safe harbors. Some even sent volunteers. Kale saw the shift. It's not just about survival anymore. No, Darren replied. It's about proving that we belong. The resistance needed more. Not just hidden cells, but a fleet. They scouted derelict battlefields, abandoned orbital stations, scrapyards forgotten by time. Kale's people had once seeded these with dormant constructs. Together, they reawakened a fleet built in secret across decades, hybrid ships combining alien precision with Terran resilience. Darren named the flagship Resolve, a tribute to the scrapyard where he first met her. With a dozen warships under their command and hundreds of auxiliary craft, the network transformed into an organized force. The Accord. It wasn't an empire. It wasn't even a military. It was a promise. The Xarn responded by declaring open war. Their next assault targeted Varela Station, a crossroads of civilian traffic and humanitarian aid. Kale advised against intervention. It was a trap. Darren chose to go. They arrived just as the Xarn fleet began its bombardment. This time, it wasn't about repelling. It was about exposing the enemy. Kale launched a stealth probe into the Xarn command vessel. What they uncovered changed everything. The Xarn were dying. Their species had suffered genetic degradation over centuries of cloning and internal warfare. What remained were fragments of a once great civilization, held together by fear and conquest. Their war was not dominance. It was desperation. Kale proposed a new plan, disrupt their cohesion, not through destruction, but subversion. Darren coordinated targeted strikes, not on infrastructure, but leadership nodes. They hacked propaganda beacons, leaked falsified orders, and staged mock betrayals. Xarn command faltered. Fractures widened. On the battlefield, Kale faced a Xarn Prime commander. She didn't kill him. She offered him something they hadn't known in generations: mercy. He surrendered. The Accord broadcast across known space. A Xarn surrender, the first in centuries. Darren stood beside Kale during the address. "This is not a victory," he said. "It's a beginning." Other species joined, not all at once, but steadily. Kale's sanctuary world became the Accord's headquarters. Not a capital, just a place where anyone could come without fear. Darren led his defense forces, but he refused a title. One night, Kale brought him a relic, a memory stone from her family's lineage. She placed it in his hand. "You were never meant to be part of this war," she said. "I made myself part of it. You changed everything." He looked at the stars above, brighter than ever. "I just treated someone like a person." Years passed. The Xarn fell, not to annihilation, but fragmentation. Many chose exile. Some integrated into the Accord. A few still fought, but now they were outliers. Kale remained by Darren's side, though they never spoke of what they could have been. Their bond had outgrown words. Darren returned to Earth once. Briefly, he walked through the scrapyard. Nothing had changed, but he had. When he left, He brought one thing with him, a small sign that read, "No credits, no problem." He mounted it aboard Resolve. It reminded him where everything started, and who he had become. Kale joined him moments later. Ready for the next one? Always. Together, they turned toward the next horizon, not as saviors, but as proof that kindness still had power in a brutal universe, and that no one, human or otherwise, was ever truly poor if someone believed in them. The galaxy would never be the same again,